So one thing's for sure, if you're born in this world, you will suffer. Everybody suffers in this world. It's called the tragedy of life. It's just the way it goes. And this is why so many atheists, people with that atheist background generally get all depressed, because they're why suffer, and the world just they become bitter and resentful at the world, because like, for sure everyone's going to suffer here. And if you don't believe in God, then there's no reason you're even suffering. So, and then the people who have the what's called the Dark Triad. Sorry if I sound like Jordan Peterson right now, but people who have the Dark Triad, you can look that up, or it's called the Dark Dyad, because there's a fourth trait. Usually wind up like blowing up a school or something at that point. Like they become bitter about the world, and then they're like, I'm going to take everyone out with me, So, but we do believe in God, and we believe there's purpose, and we believe that nothing happens by accident. We don't even believe we're actually even here or have free will in Judaism. Judaism believes that our whole experience of life is actually an illusion, a digitized, what do you call it? A simulation that we are inside of. But one thing's for sure, we're all going to suffer here. We all go through stuff. And so there's two ways to get out of suffering, whatever you're suffering. Way number one is clean up your personal karma, meaning clean up your energy. Generally, people only throw garbage into garbage cans. So if someone's throwing garbage on you, look in a mirror. You're the garbage can. People don't throw garbage on clean people. People throw garbage on garbage. So whatever's going on with you, always say to yourself, why did I have this coming? And then you might say to yourself, well, I didn't harm anybody. Okay, well, maybe you're harming yourself. Maybe you're harming, meaning maybe you're speaking badly about yourself. And that's what's sticking, and now people are throwing garbage on you. Or you might say, or maybe you're getting accused of something, and you're like, I didn't do it, but maybe you thought of doing it. Our sages say, thinking about doing something's enough to get accused of doing it. Which is pretty freaky. Pretty freaky. So by the way, not everyone can control their fantasies of thinking of doing things. But you can control doing tshuva afterwards. And tshuva is very easy. It's just the 4 steps. Who remembers the 4 steps?
Stop, say, regret, commit.
Excellent. Stop, say, regret, commit. Stop, say, regret, commit. You stop what you're doing. So, God, I'm no longer fantasizing about, we won't fill in the blank. What I did was I was fantasizing about such and such. I regret having done that, because I obviously lost all clarity to have such a thought. And I commit to not thinking that way in the future. At least till I get stuck again. I'm clean for now. Better to be clean than dirty for the next couple weeks until you get stuck. And you're more likely to get stronger every time you do that, to eventually stop altogether. So it's stop, say, regret, commit. Also, you should know that the saying, what's so important about the saying? What, God doesn't know what you did? God doesn't know what you're thinking about? Why are you saying it? So the reason you're saying it is because when you think it, or when you did it, or when you say something you shouldn't say, or whatever, when you do that, it creates certain angels. It creates, meaning everything you do is happening in a whole digital spectrum. That whole digital spectrum is made of malachim. Malachim, angels is not the right word, because it makes people think of things with wings, but it's made of malachim. Well, when you say something, when you do something, when you eat something, when you drink something, everything you're doing in this world, when you're thinking something, when you're desiring something, it's creating malachim. Why do you think when you desire something, why do you think it comes so quickly? Why should it come? Just because you desired it, it comes so quick? The answer is because once you desire it, it already is sending out the vibration, which is hitting the molecular universe, which is the universe full of malachim, not molecular universe, the molecular universe. Or I should really call it the malachular universe. It hits the malachular universe, and it just starts coming, which is why it's so important. Even what you desire has to be clearly filtered for what you actually desire, meaning what would be good for you, as opposed to just what you want. And so we should all be blessed to only want the right things, because whatever you want is what you're going to get. And so you might as well want the right things. So, yeah, you definitely want to clarify that, because not a person in this earth who hasn't wanted the wrong thing and it just came right to him. And it was like the wrong thing, But that's the way God set up the universe. In other words, the malachim conspire to fulfill your desire. So whatever your desire is what you're going to get. And while we're on that topic, you should be very careful to never desire the opposite of what you want. Never desire the opposite. Like, for example, does anyone want to be sick? So don't desire to not be sick. Desire to be healthy. And then it sends out healthy. Anyone want to be broke? No, I don't want to be broke. But the problem is the word broke. It's whatever the subject is what's sticky. The sticky thing's the subject. So if someone's saying they don't want to be broke, broke's the sticky subject. And broke's what they get. So have you ever noticed you keep getting more of what you don't want in life? Ever notice that? You keep getting more of what you don't want. You know why? Because you got the wrong subject matter. You keep saying you don't want X, and X is exactly what sticks, and then you get X. The molecular universe feeds back whatever you want, but it has to be you got to make sure it's the right subject. You got to make sure it's the right subject, and meaning what you actually want, not what you don't want. And anyway, so the way you get rid of suffering is there's two ways. One is the suffering you can really have a big impact on, and that's making sure you take out your garbage, meaning no more garbage in me. No garbage in me about me, no garbage coming out of my mouth, no garbage coming into my ears, no garbage coming into my eyes. Like, get the garbage out of me. It's like a tonsillectomy or something, a tonsillectomy, a garbage out of me. You gotta get the garbage out of you. And you should see your mental real estate as precious, you know. You should see it as precious. Penny, if you own land in, let's say you own land in northern Israel, and you're about to build a whole complex there, like 4 condominiums, you know. And you decide you're driving up there with your wife, and you want to go see the land, you know, just to think about your building site. And what do you find up there? You find like there's all these like really trippy people there who have like set up camp on your land. You know, they're like digging to make wells, and like they're just, and so you're like, who are you people? And they're just like, oh, we just found a piece of land, you know. You gonna leave those people on your land? They're out of there. They're out of there for sure. Yeah, because you've got, you know, he took a bank loan to buy the land, to build the place. You know, it's like, you know, yeah, these people aren't hanging out on the land. At which point you call the marshal, and the marshal comes and gets those people out of there so you can come build your project. So you'd never let random people on your land. But we all have this mental real estate. And it's not available for squatters, you know. But what do you let in? What are you willing to let in? And there's something about entertainment that just captures people. Entertainment just grabs a person. And especially if it's short, like YouTube shorts. Very entertaining, very short. And just enough to grab a certain part of you that will stay in there. There's nothing longer than shorts. Meaning if you would just only watch long format videos on YouTube, your time on the phone would be much less. And it's amazing they call them shorts. I think Trump should make that illegal. Since next executive order is from now on they're called longs. Anyway, but clean out the mental real estate, and I find that if you keep 3 rules, you'll generally do pretty well. The 3 rules are no explicit language, no explicit body parts, and or intimacy, and the third is no violence. No violence. Meaning, if you want to be able to say Shema like a Jew, just no explicit words, no explicit intimacy, and no explicit violence. That's it. Now, you might say, well, that leaves like no movies, like how are you going to get it? How are you going to get through anything else? So you're on the LL flight, and you know for sure that anything rated R is rated R for a reason. So that's out. And the next is you can read the little caption on what it's all about. So if it says it's a whatever, a thriller of some spy or detective, everyone's going to die. So you're watching everyone get their heads blown off the whole time. So good luck saying Shema after that. So that's basically, what you're looking for is relationship movies.
Or cartoon
Cartoon,
movies.
maybe. So it doesn't leave you a lot, but you can watch Lion King over and over again, I suppose.
No, those are.
Okay, now regarding the suffering, there's two types of suffering. There's suffering you get because you got garbage in you, and it's now feeding back from you. The universe is feeding back your garbage. And the other type of suffering is called reincarnation suffering. So reincarnation suffering is the suffering you have to go through while on this earth. It's stuff you just gotta. It's what I call it is cosmic debt. Cosmic debt is the debt you owe from previous lifetimes. And when you're in this world and you leave over, you want to leave over basically no footprint that you were here. There should be no footprint that you're on this earth. Kind of like my father's home, in LA. It's fun. I finally get to say I'm from my parents live in the Pacific Palisades, because I used to always have to say Malibu, because no one's ever heard of the Pacific Palisades. But they were on the cliffs, literally off their cliffs. They're the Malibu. It was Malibu. Now for the fires, I can finally say that. I'm just trying to find anything positive about the fires. I have less anxiety over my big wave boards because I don't ride waves that are, 10 feet maybe. That's probably the max I would ride these days. But I have boards for 25, 30-foot waves. And every time I would see them, I'd get anxiety because I should really sell this board. And then I'd be like, nah, I can't sell that board because what if you might go to Indonesia and you're gonna need this board? And then I'd be like, oh, am I really going to Indonesia? Am I really riding waves like that anymore? I would have to train. Do I really want to train? Is it really appropriate? I'm just going into a conniption over this. Well, those boards have gone to surfboard heaven. They don't exist anymore. I do still have my boards in Israel. The Israel boards are here, and one of them is actually a big wave board, but not a giant wave board. It's a board for 10 foot plus. Very rarely, a couple times a year it gets 10. Yeah, I don't know, but I'm getting excited to surf Gaza.
When's the last time you surfed?
A few months ago. Yeah, I haven't been surfing much lately. Okay, where are we at? So the other kind of suffering is cosmic debt. It's garbage you left in this world from a previous life. And you got to clean that stuff up, and it's usually through going through stuff. And you can't get out of that. You just got to go through it. So you could be like the cleanest guy in town. None of the first type of suffering comes your way. Everything's clean. You could be that clean. What? Eve's got, his suffering was a test from the angels to God and stuff, that he would turn on God. But this kind of debt, even if you're totally clean and everything's going your way, it's the kind of stuff that's just got to come. Stuff you got to deal with. And but there's a way to get out of it too. Even that, there's a way out. You guys want to know the way out of the stuff you got to deal with from previous lifetimes? So you can't get out of it happening once, because you got to clean up from previous lifetimes. But you can prevent it from becoming a recurring nightmare. You'll notice that people who have cosmic debt meaning they're very clean, no debt, no issues with garbage, but they're getting like raked over the coals, you'll notice that it keeps happening. Like every year, like they're back in the hole, or every 2 years, like they get smashed. So the way out of that is called radical acceptance. Radical acceptance means that you come to a place of total acceptance of what you're going through. Now, you guys are thinking like, how am I supposed to accept that? Like, I'm going through hell. You know, like, I'm supposed to accept that? Yes, you've got to accept that. Meaning, next time you pray, you say to God, God, you know, God, he would say, let's say, I'm trying to think of what he's suffering. He's suffering. I don't know what to say he's suffering. What?
Suffered so much weight.
Yeah, let's say a no money situation. I mean, the guy's totally clean. There's no reason he shouldn't have money. But everything he touches just turns to ash. So he goes to God, to the kotel, or wherever he wants to go, make it a big prayer and say, and he says to him, God, if you never send him money, he's speaking in first person, I'm not going to say in the first person, if you never send him money for as long as he lives, he's good with that. He's got the message. He's got the message. And you know, if he wants him in a cave, if God wants him in a cave, because he's just completely broke, so cave it is. But like, it's got to be real. You can't fake it with God. And God knows exactly what you're thinking. That's why I said radical acceptance. It's got to be radical. It's got to be like not fooling God levels of acceptance.
Then no matter what, still he's doing it in the back of his mind so he can get money.
It's got to be real. It's got to be real. I did it once about something. I had no kavanah. Sorry, I had no feeling from prayer for 9 months. I mean, I was praying 3 times a day. You know, totally intense on Shabbos, totally intense on holidays and stuff, and felt zero for 9 months straight. And I walked up to the most beautiful davener you've ever seen. Like, when he prays, you're just like, whoa, this guy's like, he's in heaven. I went up to him, an older man, and I said, Rabbi, I'm 9 months without feeling anything in prayer. And he's like, wow, I'm jealous of you. First thing he said, I'm jealous. I said, why are you jealous? He says, oh, when I pray, it's like I'm in heaven. And so I always wonder, maybe that's why I pray. Whereas you don't feel anything, you keep praying. Like you don't stop. And I was like, went down to the kotel. I said, God, if I don't feel another prayer for the rest of my life, I'm not stopping. I'm committed. I'm with you, just like this. You commanded us to pray, I'm praying. That's it. And that particular prayer session, I pulled out of the silent meditation, which was usually at that point in my life, probably like 5 minutes, because I'm not feeling anything. I pulled out of it, I don't know, maybe 40 minutes later, because I was in another world. And I've been in that other world ever since. So that was like immediate karma. Like, I got that like right away. That was like straight up. So anyway, you can't prevent the suffering, but you can prevent it from becoming a recurring theme. And you ready for this? Here's a scary one. One more thing on reincarnation is that if you still didn't accept it your whole life, like you kept going through the same loop and didn't accept your whole life, guess what happens? Yeah, come back. Come back. And I met a guy who was on his 4th round. before he discovered the radical acceptance trick.
How do you know he's on his fourth round?
How do you know that? I'm not answering that.
Who is?
He said, how did he know he was on his fourth round?